It is that constant reassurance that you'll always seek that proves that your mind is a child, because it always needs that reassuring, that comforting feeling to know that it's not alone. It will always be taken care of by somebody else. There will always be others there to make certain that nothing happens to it. Just like when you were little, your parents and your family were the buffer between you and the real world. And then when you grew up, that buffer went away. So it's this constant, incessant need to be assured or reassured continuously and incessantly that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the mind is a child, and a child's mind is a playground. And the only thing you do on a playground is play. You have a great time, but if you really think about it, nothing is accomplished on a playground. Yes, you do create great memories, but there's nothing of a substantial nature created that could be a viable source as a fuel for you to do something substantial or something, important with your life as an adult. So what I'm trying to say is that, you have to allow the mind to grow up in a lot of ways, in the sense that it just continues to wanting to be reassured and comforted and swaddled and taken care of and babied and nurtured by others and tended to by its parents, which is, of course, that system. You have to see it like that, because this is the reason why you're finding it hard to break away from these things. This is the reason why you're finding difficulties in manifesting, or perhaps you're working on something and you're having complications or blockages because the mind is serving as an impediment because it refuses to move forward. It always wants to go back to its parents. That's why it always needs constant reassurance. That's its coping mechanism. That's how it deals with things in life. This is the reason why also, if you see, statistically, a lot of people deliberately get locked up. They deliberately break the law for a reason. First off, they can't handle it out here. Getting a job, paying rent, all the responsibilities, the obligations, and commitments. It's just too overwhelming because they operate in a very childish manner, on a very immature level. They've always been taken care of their whole life. So that penitentiary, that incarceration, it's almost like the parents. Because if you really analyze it, when somebody's arrested and they're put in prison, they get 3 meals a day, free roof, free room and board, free clothing. You get TV, dental, medical, commissary, gym, college. You can educate yourself in prison and become a lawyer. So everything is given to you for free, just like it was when you were a child. So that's a reassuring coping mechanism. That is like the comforting that they need, because they can't cope with it on the outside. And you also get a lot of privileges that you would have to pay for out here. That you have to pay taxes and pay bills and rent. It's exhausting. So they don't have that to worry about when they're in prison. And it's a known fact that especially elderly people, they deliberately break the law because they can get free hip surgery, free dental, free medical. That's what they do. That's just some of the things that go on in this life. But on an unconscious level, your mind is unwilling to leave that penitentiary of that reassurance that it's always going to be taken care of by somebody else. So you have to allow the mind to elevate to such a degree that it has to grow up, and it must understand that it's good to hold on to the good memories, but not as a reassuring coping mechanism to where it refuses to leave that nest, because then it becomes an impediment at that point. And then it will bog down your journey. And then that serves no purpose other than for you to become frustrated and entangled with just absolute insanity and madness that's going to ensue, because you're going to feed that demon and you'll exacerbate those flames. And the very fires that you're feeding will consume you. So you see how it's cyclical. So the mind will get you into some terrible, terrible predicaments if you allow it to run free, because it is feral. It is wild, and it only answers to its master of darkness. So you have to turn it around and face it towards the light, towards your higher self, and allow it to understand that it doesn't need this constant reassurance that everything's going to be okay. Because if what you're looking for is a constant reassurance, then you have no faith. Because it's like, the universe is asking you, take that step, and you're like, oh, I don't know about this. That isn't you. That isn't your higher self. That's the mind taking control and saying, no, 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 no. We don't like that. I don't know what is that? No, 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 no. I'm going to stay here where it's safe, where it's comfortable, the place I know, familiar, normal, you know? I'm going to stay in this zone. You see how the mind will cripple you because it refuses to go to a place that it doesn't know, it doesn't trust, it has no faith in, and it's also never been there before. So it's something you might want to analyze in your own life, what's going on, as to why the universe is asking something of you, and you're just having an outright, simple refusal to do it. Because you're going to analyze this thing to the point of paralysis, analysis paralysis. That's an old term used in real estate. When you assess a property that's probably, in distress, and you analyze how much it's going to cost for after repair value, and so on and so forth, and you'll just keep rerunning the numbers again and again. So you're analyzing it to the point of paralysis that you're not doing anything, and somebody else grabs the property, fixes it, flips it, and sells it. And you're still analyzing the numbers. That's never a good thing. Not by any stretch of anyone's imagination. So just check the subliminals, man, of how the mind is conditioned to cripple you. Even when you think things are going real great, all of a sudden, bloop, it'll drop its ugly face into the mix again. And like, oh, I thought we were over this. And the mind is like, nope, you didn't resolve certain issues that you have to address. So I'm bringing it to your attention that it has to be taken care of, or else I'm going to be the greatest impediment somewhere down the road when things get real good, and then I'm going to ruin them and make everything a disaster. And you don't want that to happen when you are actually living your new life and your dream life and everything. And then the mind rears up its ugly head and goes, guess what? I'm back. Because you didn't address this and you didn't bother to convert the mind into what you need it to become. And that is a viable form of mature, responsible energy that can work with you as an ally, not against you as a nemesis or an enemy. Just some food for thought, literally.